Among all the figures in the New Testament, few have captured the imagination and devotion of Christians as much as Saint Mary Magdalene. Her story is one of redemption, unwavering faith, and the privilege of being the first witness to the resurrection of Christ. But who was Mary Magdalene? What happened to her after the events of the Gospels? And why does the Catholic Church honor her with the title Apostle to the Apostles? Mary Magdalene is mentioned in all four Gospels, and her role in Jesus' ministry is significant. Her name indicates that she came from the town of Magdala, a fishing village on the western shore of the Sea of Galilee. The first time we encounter her in the Gospel of Luke, Luke 8:2, she is described as a woman from whom 7 demons had gone out. This powerful statement suggests that she had been afflicted in a severe way, whether physically, spiritually, or both. Some church fathers, including Pope Gregory the Great, interpreted these 7 demons as a representation of the fullness of sin, meaning she experienced a complete transformation when Jesus healed her. After her healing, Mary Magdalene became one of Jesus' most devoted followers. Unlike most women of the time who had little social freedom, she actively supported Jesus' ministry, alongside other women, with her resources. This is a strong indication that she was a woman of some means. While the 12 apostles were the closest disciples of Christ, Mary Magdalene and a few other women were also a significant part of his inner circle, accompanying him as he preached throughout Judea and Galilee. Mary Magdalene's devotion to Christ was unshakable. When Jesus was arrested, tried, and condemned to death, most of his followers fled in fear. Yet Mary Magdalene, along with the Virgin Mary and Saint John, stood by the cross until the very end. Imagine the scene. The sky darkens, the earth trembles, and Jesus, the one she had followed and loved, breathes his last breath. She hears his words. Yet even in that moment of despair, she does not abandon him. When Jesus' body is taken down from the cross, she helps prepare it for burial, witnessing the immense sorrow of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The most extraordinary moment in Mary Magdalene's life, and one of the most important moments in all of Christianity, occurs on the morning of the resurrection. John chapter 20 verses 1-17 tells us that Mary Magdalene was the first to visit Jesus' tomb early in the morning while it was still dark. To her shock, the stone had been rolled away and the tomb was empty. Panicked, she ran to tell the apostles. Peter and John rushed to the tomb and found only the burial cloths left behind, but they left without understanding what had happened. Mary Magdalene, however, remained outside the tomb, weeping. Then, through her tears, she saw someone standing there. She thought he was the gardener and pleaded with him, saying, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him." Then, in the most tender and powerful moment, Jesus simply said her name, Mary. At once, she recognized him. "Rabboni," she cried, which means teacher. Overcome with joy, she tried to embrace him, but Jesus gently told her, "Do not cling to me, for I have not yet ascended to my Father. But go to my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." And so, Mary Magdalene became the first to proclaim the greatest news in human history: Christ is risen. This is why the Church honors her with the title Apostle to the Apostles, because she was the first to bring the message of the resurrection to the very men Jesus had chosen to spread the gospel. What happened to Mary Magdalene after Jesus' ascension? Catholic tradition offers different accounts of her later life. One tradition states that she traveled with the Virgin Mary and Saint John the Apostle to Ephesus, where she continued to serve the early Christian community in prayer and evangelization. Some believe she remained there until her death and was buried in that region. However, another, more well-known Western tradition holds that Mary Magdalene, along with other Christians, was exiled from the Holy Land during early persecutions. She was placed in a boat without oars, along with Lazarus, whom Jesus had raised from the dead, Martha, and other followers of Christ. Miraculously, they arrived on the shores of Provence in what is now France. According to this tradition, Mary Magdalene preached the gospel in southern France and eventually withdrew to a remote cave in Saint-Baume. There, she is said to have lived in solitude, dedicating herself entirely to prayer, penance, and contemplation of God. Legends say that she was lifted by angels daily into the heavens to hear the celestial choirs sing. Her relics are venerated today in the Basilica of Saint Mary Magdalene in Saint-Maximin-la-Sainte-Baume, France, a place of pilgrimage for centuries. Saint Mary Magdalene remains one of the most beloved saints in Catholic tradition. Her life is a testament to the power of conversion, the depth of Christ's mercy, and the role of women in the mission of the Church. In 2016, Pope Francis elevated her liturgical memorial, July 22nd, to the level of a feast day. This was a recognition of her vital role in proclaiming the resurrection and the gospel message. She is the patron saint of penitents, converts, and contemplatives. Her story reminds us that no matter our past, God's grace can transform us into His faithful disciples. The story of Saint Mary Magdalene is one of faith, courage, and devotion. She was a woman who experienced the mercy of Christ firsthand, who followed Him to the very end, and who was given the extraordinary mission of announcing His resurrection. May we learn from her example, to remain faithful to Jesus in times of suffering, to seek Him with all our hearts, and to boldly proclaim His love to the world. Saint Mary Magdalene, pray for us.